goes.
Okay, it looks like we're live now. Welcome to our October 20th. That's correct, isn't it? Yes, day before Backdrop Live design and usability meeting. My name is Tim Erickson. We're going to do a quick round of introductions. Each person just share your name, where you're from, and anything interesting you'd like to share this week. I already said I'm Tim Erickson. I'm in Deerwood, Minnesota. And I guess, yeah, the big deal is just Backdrop Live has been consuming a lot of my time. I'm not going to be able to stick around for very long in the meeting today, but I dropped by for the beginning. Robert, do you want to go next?
Sure. I'm Robert Lang, bug folder on the internet, coming from Altadena, California. So I'll pass it to Luke.
I am Luke McCormick, coming to you from San Ramon, California. I'm excited because I got tickets to the Last Dead show this morning. But on top of things, I'm also excited about Backdrop Live tomorrow. I'm part of 3 sessions, so I've got a lot of responsibility on my tiny little shoulders. Let me throw it over to Joseph. Or maybe not.
Jen, why don't you go
Jen?
until Joseph's ready?
Sure. Jen Lampton, joining from Oakland, California. Also very excited about Backdrop Live. But that's it for me. Joseph, I know, said he was going to be muted because there was background noise, so maybe he won't be able to see anything.
Okay, sounds good. Well, since I'm going to be leaving in a minute, Jen, can you kind of facilitate the meeting? I mean, so I could start and just really quickly remind everybody, tomorrow is Backdrop Live. We have a schedule up on the website. It's events.backdropcms.org. Check out the schedule. If you're not registered, register as quickly as possible. We have been doing Backdrop Live every 4 months. We'll probably, unless something changes, be moving to every 6 months after this Backdrop Live. Help spread the word is, I guess, the main thing at this stage. And if you have topics that you want to talk about that are on the schedule, it's not too late to add them. And you can just bring them with you to Backdrop Live tomorrow, or you can, when you register, let us know or ping us in Zulip. I think we have a pretty good schedule already, but there's always room for more. And I don't know, does anybody else have any questions or final updates about Backdrop Live? Anybody have any sessions that they want to add right now? No?
I have an exciting update. The Pantheon, how to host your site on Pantheon session that's happening at 2 p.m. I reached out to a handful of people with Pantheon and didn't hear anything back if they were going to join or not. And then yesterday, Oliver reached out to me and he said, hey, Pantheon is thinking about adding more support for Backdrop. What do you guys want? And I was like, you need to come to this session on Friday. And he's totally going to come, and he's going to be there from 2 to 2:45 to hear what the community wants of Pantheon and start creating some internal movement in order to make that happen, which I think sounds fantastic. So, and I just got a message both from Taryn and from Greg on Slack, were the 2 people who attended our summit at BadCamp. I haven't read them yet because it just came in like between when I started talking about this and now. So apparently they're talking about it internally at Pantheon, which is really exciting.
Right.
So yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, so we've already got that on the schedule, so that's just sort of firming up. That'll be a great discussion. Anything else? Anyone else? We do. I'll just mention a couple of other interesting things happening. Amy June Hinlin is coming from opensource.com to talk a little bit about opensource.com and how we can participate there. And maybe we can brainstorm some blog posts or some article ideas that we can work on. We also have somebody coming from Zulip tomorrow, the Zulip project, who can talk to us a little bit about how we're using Zulip and maybe also take some feedback from us on how to make Zulip better. Those are just 2 sort of interesting things sort of out of the norm, but obviously we have a lot of the regular stuff. Backdrop for Beginners, really promote that. Yeah, I guess that's it. So is there anything else that I need to Robert, why don't you, I know this isn't a design UX meeting. Give us the quick update you did at office hours yesterday on Civi CRM, because that's moving along.
Yeah, I mean, actually, I think we're this close to being able to roll it out on production. So in the project, I put together a full workflow for bringing it up on production based on all the bits and pieces that I discovered along the way of bringing it up on beta. A lot of it has to be done manually, as opposed to like committing config and then syncing, because in Civi CRM, the configuration is still all in the database. In fact, the piece that is missing, don't mean to put anyone here on the spot, is I need descriptions for some of the mailing groups that we've created, because those will appear on the user login page immediately, and so people, want to see more than TBD about what they're signing up for. But at that point, I think we'd be ready to go. And I've asked all the people who have had fingers in the Civi CRM pie. I pinged them from the GitHub issue to take a look and chime in. And after a decent interval and Backdrop Live has elapsed, then I say I'd just go ahead and bring it up on b.org. It's probably a couple hours to get everything up and tweaked and anticipate new problems.
So I think Robert's hoping that I can get him some of that text that he's looking for. It just occurred to me though, Robert, like what I wanted was, because these specific groups that you need descriptions for are ones that I sort of requested, and they basically involve different contrib groups that I'd like to be able to like contact directly. And that include like contrib mod, people writing core contributors, contrib module contributors, design contributors. I think there was a fourth one. It doesn't matter the exact one.
Yes.
It occurred to me that what I was more thinking about though, Robert, maybe, I don't know, I'm making this up right now on the spot, is that, I want people to indicate an interest in these things, and then I want to be able to contact them. I'm not sure if I just say like sign up for the design contrib news, updates, if that's the way it should be phrased, or if it should be, sign up to volunteer for, for doing design and or design. And if you do, then we'll use this list to reach you.
I think we could also have like all contributors in one list and then like divide them by interest too. So we don't have to ask someone to be like, sign up for a module, sign up for theme, sign up for whatever. We could just say, if you agree to be contacted about volunteering, or I don't know what language we want to use, your time to work on any of the following things, this is the list for you. And then if we need to send an email only to people who are interested in design stuff, we could say of this list, which people are interested in design, and send that. I don't know, Robert, if we have to do anything special to set up those subgroups ahead of time, but we do have that data on the user account on backdropcms.org. So might have to get a little creative about building that list.
I'm okay if we have to start from scratch, sort of getting people into it. But does the point I made make sense, Robert and Jen? Is this really different lists, or is it just like tags within a list?
It's
these are groups of users.
Oh, the groups, okay.
So, and you can create subgroups based on some criteria, or you can create alternate groups, but there's not really provision for a tree hierarchy of groups. Everything is kind of an atomic group.
So we're not like creating a new mailing list. But basically we can mail to any group. So
exactly.
It's well, in some ways it's the same, but in other ways it's a little different.
I think we have to be a little careful with like the legal ramifications of it now, because if somebody like opts into one but not another one. We can't email them on the one they didn't opt into.
And that's one of the main reasons for setting up multiple groups. People, every time a mailing goes out to a specific group, it includes an opt-out link for that group in the mailing.
Okay.
And it also contains the nuclear option of opting out of all
Everything.
bulk emails from us.
I mean, so if we had if we had a contrib group, and then we had the ability to break that into sort of subgroups or tags, I don't think we would be breaking any rules. If somebody subscribed to get contrib notifications, that doesn't prevent us from sending them, to not sending everybody all the emails, right? It
Yeah.
would be like they agreed to get contrib contribution or emails. We're just sending them the ones that are relevant to them.
Yeah.
Although
we need to have some way of flagging. We need to basically create a data field that indicates their sub-interest.
Right.
And that doesn't exist currently.
Okay.
In Civi CRM.
Right.
I do think we
you can
have
set
a-
up, you can set up new fields at any time. So it doesn't,
Yeah.
like those subcategories data can be set up after we're up and running with just the main contributor group. But
Do think we have a field on the user profile. I might be making this up. I'm just going to go check. No, we have an areas of expertise, which is not really areas of interest, but
and that's one of the fields that we're not trying to bring into Civi.
yeah. Do you know if we can build a view in Civi with like a join to the user table and pull off user field data in Civi? Or is it all of Civi or all of Backdrop, but sort of no cross between?
No, there is. I think we can do relationships to Civi tables.
Okay.
There's Civi CRM views module
Yeah.
lets you make views of Civi stuff. So I think so.
So we could probably get that list, even if it's not easy to do it like in the Civi UI. So we could also figure out, and if we want that in the future, we could figure out how to bring in that data to Civi too, and that would probably make it easier on us.
Okay, I only have a few minutes. I guess it seems to me that there is a slight distinction here, right, between creating these different groups and just creating one group with sub-interests. If we can do the sub-interest thing, that seems like it would work fine for my end and have some advantages, but if it's technically difficult at all, I think having individual groups works as well. I'm happy
also
for you
think
guys
it
to solve
would.
that after I leave. Go ahead.
Okay. I also think it might be premature to create the subgroups now. And if we just had a like contributors list to start with, we could figure out how to add that later if we thought we would want to use them. What I don't want to do is have people's initial instinct to be like, oh, there's 15 things I need to think about. I'm like overwhelmed and not going to sign up for everything. But once they're already invested and they're like, oh, I like these things. What are my interests? Yeah, sure. I'm interested in design and user experience and what have you. It might be.
Okay. Can I ask a practical question, which is, so, I think I want to use these subgroups soon, but that could still be something that comes later or behind the scenes. Like if, in terms of, if I'm talking to Joseph in a call, and I say, Joseph, do you want to help us with our marketing efforts? And he says, yes. Can I just add him to that and then he gets emails, or is that breaking the GDPR? Is he not signed? Does he have to go does he have to go push a button himself?
There might be, Robert, you might know this answer better than me. There might be a way where if you sign him up, it'll send him an email that's like, please confirm your subscription. And that way he would be opting in even if we added him manually. And that would get around the legal requirement of somebody needing to opt themselves in. There's also a checkbox when you add people to a list that's like, I confirm that I'm adding this person legally,
Okay.
which we could use to bypass that process. But I think as a general rule, it would probably be good if
Mhm.
somebody verbally says, yeah, I'm interested in doing that before we add them to a mailing list. They get the ability to be like decide on their own, oh, do I want to be on a mailing list? No. So
Yeah, I mean, if we are administratively checking the box for them, I don't know of a way that's at least built into the system, to send them a confirmation of that.
okay.
We can write something.
Yeah, I think I had that on one of my sites, but it might have like started off requiring a double opt-in. And so that message they got was just the double part of it. And so maybe it wasn't part of the administrative process at all. But I don't remember. I can go look at it.
Okay. Well, I hear Jen's point about not making this too complicated, this form. But I mean, I want to be able to, I want the ability to segment people into groups of interest and reach out to them. And that's, so however the best usability is for that without overwhelming people. And I'm okay with sort of manually putting people into these groups for now, if that's easier. And if we're policy wise, okay, like that we get confirmation from people, they say they want to be, I'm not envisioning most of these groups being really big to start with, right? So.
Yeah, I think if we do start manually, we can also just do a really good job of like telling people like, I'm going to add you to this mailing list. And then if they want to opt out, they can in the future. But yeah, I think as long as they aren't surprised by that, we probably won't have any issues.
Well, let me bring kind of back to a functional requirement. When a person signs up for an account, they go to user/register. They're going to have their username, their email address, a bunch of fields for their address stuff, and a collection of checkboxes for these groups. And we need to create a block of text that describes what those checkboxes are. And it can be anything we want, but we need some description of that text to go onto that form. And similarly, when they go to their edit page, there's a sub tab for those checkboxes.
Okay.
So that's the chunk of text that says, if you check these boxes, here's what this means.
Right. So I think what we're discussing is, rather than having 4 boxes now, though, maybe there's just one that's either contribution or is the word volunteer, right? Maybe it's the volunteer group, which is the equivalent of contribution, right? But it might make more sense to. Contribution seems too specific to some people, right? They think of contribution as code, where they volunteered to be on the marketing committee or something. So I don't know that's the wording issue, right? Is how do we phrase this in a way to encompass all of that? Like, I want to help. Yeah, go ahead.
We can maybe use that longer description text to tackle that some of that too. Like if the name of the group was something like, I would like to be a volunteer, then in the description we could say volunteering includes helping with marketing, contributing code, whatever, and sort of give us a little bit more to work on that. A little more room to work on that language.
Okay.
We don't have to get it right in the label.
Okay. Well, maybe I'm going to leave now. Maybe this helped clarify that enough, Robert. If it didn't, I'll still try to get you something later. And defining these subgroups isn't going to hurt, even if we don't use them right now. So I'll try to do that.
Yeah,
I got to go.
Takeaway I've got is we're going to change replace for contributed to I'm interested in volunteer.
Yep.
Right. Something generic about that.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
That's how we'll start, at least for now. Yeah.
Okay.
And
Thank
we
you.
can work on some descriptions to help for those, the 4 that are left, or however many.
Bye now.
Hi, Tim. Let's see. Is that Herb who's asking for the current Civi?
No, that was
That was
me.
you. Okay.
Robert, I think I probably got the email or the message, because it sounds familiar, to come in and check the latest results of the Civi project, but I couldn't find it in search, and I'm deeply interested. So
Yeah. Okay. So it's in the Backdrop CMS issues queue. Hang on just a second, and I will pull it up. It's backdropcms.org, I should say, issues queue. And
I think that's where I saw it, actually.
there's an issue, but there's also, okay, so here's the workflow issue I'm putting in chat. But there's also a project. Project. Here's the project that has all of the issues in the chat. Incidentally, in Zulip today, there was a discussion, someone asking about tools to manage sort of large collaborative things. And this is an example of GitHub's project interface where you can kind of create a whole slew of issues. And as when you close an issue, then it moves into the done column and all of the in progress things are in progress.
Yeah, their Kanban board.
Exactly.
And I just noticed, I guess I do need to do some more theming because the new account registration page on Beta looks like hell.
Yeah, I think that's not your fault. That there's some mucky code in there from the previous user registration form that's probably just interfering with all the Civi stuff. So yeah, we need a little cleanup, but probably would have been fine if I hadn't added the original styling on there. So that's probably my fault.
The overlapping
Presumably,
text and stuff.
whatever
Yeah.
we'll need to do the same thing on production. So might as well figure out what needs to be done here.
Yeah.
But if you log into your account on Beta, you can see the subtabs for Civi. Go to your user account, and I think that looks pretty decent. I'll go to my profile. Yeah, that one actually looks pretty decent. So you can see. In fact, if you want, I'll share.
Sure.
I'm in the beta. Oh, my access has apparently worked.
Okay, so this is my user page, and ways in which I contribute is the stuff from Backdrop, and then name and address, mailings. These are things that come from Civi CRM, and there's links to edit your name and address and edit the mailings. Or if I go to my edit page, it's got subtabs, and settings is everything that used to be, that's part of the Backdrop edit page, but then there's also name and address, and this is Civi CRM tab, the Civi CRM data, and mailings are the groups. And so we get some description about the individual groups, about the overall groups, description for the individual groups, and you can check which ones you want. And there's the nuclear option. No bulk emails means you will never get a bulk mail on any topic from us. So that's
Yeah, it looks like we could use a terminology pass, and I don't know if any of this is configurable in Civi. We might have to like change things like forcibly through alters or something, but like settings doesn't make sense if that's mostly our profile data. Like it's expecting username and password, which are also on there, but Backdrop puts all of its stuff in the same tab, so it's not necessarily settings. And then mailings. It's also a really weird word. I wonder if that's better internationally for translation for some reason, but it should probably be like mailing lists or something that people are going to identify with in English.
so settings is actually we can change that to anything we want, because that's changed. I don't remember. I think that actually says edit, and which makes very little sense to have edit being a subtab of edit.
Yeah.
So I changed it. So I used a menu alter to change it to settings, and we can change it to whatever we want. So
Okay. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I have a better alternative, but it's worth thinking about.
I knew edit was really bad.
Yeah.
Name and address and mailings. I think those are also done in the menu alter, because City CRM called it something like mailings-6. It's the machine name of the profile thing.
Oh, boy.
So
Interesting.
we can change that to whatever we want also.
Okay.
Subscriptions, maybe?
Yeah, that would be good. Thanks, Luke. It's good to have people who are good at explaining things.
Although it's more than subscriptions, because it's got well, I guess it could
Opt out.
be. It's got the opt out.
Yeah. I also feel like no bulk emails. Like we might need to add a description text onto that.
Well, that's what this whole block here
Oh,
is description.
the
text.
description.
And that's our text to write. So
Okay.
what you see there is what I took a stab at writing. But of course that can be.
Oh, I see. There's like description TBD everywhere. That's weird that it's
I think-
showing up above instead of below.
I think no bulk emails falls under subscriptions. That's no subscriptions.
Oh, and I think I think City CRM lets you make your help text pre or post. So we could, if you would prefer have that description below, we can do that too.
I don't think we can put it above on any of the backdrop stuff, so it might be good just to have it. I don't know. I might have added some weird alters or theme overrides for like text areas to put it above and everything else to put it below. So it's going to be hard to make it consistent. So I don't think Civi uses any of the theme functions from backdrop. I think it has its own
Not at all.
Civi standalone, stuff. So
City can live in WordPress.
yeah,
So it's got all its own infrastructure
yeah.
and its own way of doing things.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I think it's probably fine for now, but we can clean it up if we want to in the future. Depends on how much effort we want to spend on it.
Kind of figure once we've got, if we have the least viable product, something decent to go out with, then when people start looking at it, they can say, oh, we should change this to that. And then those things.
Minimum viable product, MVP.
Yeah.
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 Anyhow.
Anyway, I think I'm very excited about this. So
Oh, yeah.
I know you've spent a lot of time, Robert, on it, and I really appreciate that.
Is it really almost trigger ready? Like we can.
I would have
start
said
setting
yes,
stuff
except then I saw the
Registration.
breakfast of the registration page. So almost trigger ready, but it still needs that.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. There's one issue on our agenda. This is this admin bar. Consider replacing the home icon with the text return to site or back to site. Has anyone here, I know Tim was following this, has anyone here followed that issue? Robert, have you looked at it before? This is
I took a look at it.
Not close. Oh, go ahead, Joseph.
Do you know what the current proposal is? They still want to add back to site the text there instead of the icon? Is that the?
So it's actually changes the functionality. So
Okay.
when you use the admin bar to navigate from front end page, basically a page that does not use the admin theme, to a page that does use the admin theme, it stores the last page in your browser session, and that changes from a home link to a back to site link, and it'll take you back to the last non-admin page you were on when you click it.
So I've got the tugboat page open, and if you want, I can do a quick demo.
Yeah, that would be great.
So I'll go to Okay, so here we are, and we're looking at your first post. And now I'm going to go to the dashboard page. It's suspended, maybe. Come back.
Give it 30 seconds.
It was
It'll be back.
open. It was open
There
a
it
little
goes.
bit ago. There we go. Okay, so I go to my dashboard, and you'll notice up here, home has changed to back to site. And if I click on it, I didn't go back to the home page. I went back to your first post, the page that I was on.
Yeah.
Oh. And interestingly, that persists through multiple levels of admin. So like if I go to contact, which is an admin page, and edit, which is an admin page. So now I'm 2 levels in, but back to site is still going back
Huh.
to the last non-admin page I was looking at, which is kind of cute.
Yeah.
This feature is actually part of, I think it's Jen, where it's either Jen or Claro adds a back to site link in their header. So
Do you
wow.
use it? Do you like it?
I
my-
don't work on any Drupal 9 sites that use those themes, but
Me either.
I'm looking at those themes ever since Greg did his session about talking about porting those themes to Backdrop. I've been looking at them and trying to figure out ways to we can implement those features. And
I think this feature sounds useful, especially for like non-administrative users who are likely to get lost in the back end. You know, click around a couple of times and then be like, what page was I on? Having that would be really useful. My brain has a really hard time with the language being back to site because every page is your site. And so there's like, it doesn't indicate where it's gonna take you. But I feel like that might be my problem, like because it could be that everybody in WordPress is used to having like your site be like the publicly viewable site and like not your site being other pages on your site. And if like,
yeah.
right. And so like that could be like a colloquial thing of just how people refer to stuff now. And my brain is just like, that logically isn't correct, but it doesn't matter if it doesn't make sense to people. You put something that is logically correct, right? So yeah, I don't know. I wonder how other people interact with that. And if it's, I mean, if it says back to site in Drupal and everyone loves it, maybe just copying the same thing they do is the right way to go there. So yeah, yeah, it looks like a useful feature, in my general opinion. I haven't looked at the pull request, but thank you for explaining that, Joseph. There's nothing else on our agenda for today. We have only 8 minutes until the developer meeting starts, so maybe we should see if anyone has anything else, design or user experience related or otherwise. And if not, we can end the recording and regroup in 7 minutes.
I have a super minor thing that I don't expect
Okay.
to take any time, but I noticed that the session nodes for the Backdrop Live event site are node numbers, and I'm curious.
Yes. So I also noticed this. What happened is when we created all of the sessions, their titles are TBD, right? And so then all the URL aliases are like
Would have
TBD1,
been- would have
TBD2,
been
TBD3. So we just
TBD.
removed them all, which made sense. But then when you rename them, they don't get their automatic aliases back. So yeah, I was thinking, again, with the like wish list of things I want to build, the way the schedule was going to work in the future is that every session will automatically be created with no alias, the title TBD, and on the session itself, anyone who's registered for the event will see a button that says like claim this time slot. You click the time slot, you'll get taken to the edit form of the page. It'll get switched to you as the owner, so now you have edit access to the node. And then when you hit save, we could automatically have turned on the alias checkbox that wasn't turned on before. So right now, that doesn't happen, which is not ideal. So if you have a session and you want it to have a pretty alias, you can edit your own session and you can change it. But yeah, for anyone who isn't aware of that or doesn't have a session and just noticed the other people's sessions missed, labeled, there's nothing we can really, I mean, we could manually go in and update all of them, and maybe that's the easiest thing to do.
I'll go update my 3. Consider
Okay.
that fully explained.
Yeah, I agree. I saw that too and was like, oh no, we hadn't fully considered the ramifications of our previous actions, which is not uncommon. But yeah, it's one of the things where there's a technical solution, but it takes some work.
Yeah, that's fine. All right, we can end.
Okay. All right. I'm going to go ahead